Age of Wonders 4. Is it worth a buy? Is it? Let's read the words. On Steam. Rule a fantasy realm of your own design. Explore new magical realms in Age of Wonders' signature blend of 4X strategy and turn-based tactical combat. Control a faction that grows and changes as you expand your empire with each turn. First up, guys, let's have a quick look at the graphical options. And I must say it ran great for me on a 2080 i9. There's a few things you can twiddle and tweak to get the best out of the game if it's not running so well on your system. There's the settings that I used. They can go higher, but it looked great for me on them settings, so I was happy to go along with that. But yeah, there's a few things you can twiddle and tweak with. Now, before I started to play this, I'd never played an Age of Wonders Fantasy 4X game before. There's Age of Wonders 1 and 2, then 3 was a sci-fi, and this is 4, which is kind of more like the 1 and 2 versions. It's all fantasy sort of characters in this, in a fantasy setting. And I'd never played any of that. So it was a huge learning curve for me. And I still don't know the full game at all. I've still made a colossal load of mistakes. I've only done one playthrough, and that's took me 2 days just to do it. And it's just about finished. I've pretty much conquered the realms. But I made tons of mistakes, and I want to go back and redo it again. For example, I didn't have more than one hero until halfway through my playthrough because I didn't know how you got them. There are a ton of tutorial videos available on the Age of Wonders 4 website, and I highly recommend you watch them. They are great little short videos dealing with all the different aspects of the game. I watched all of them, and I watched a big stream by the developers, and that helped massively. But nevertheless, I must warn you, there is a learning curve to this. It is a very, very deep game, this, with lots and lots of things to do, but it's very rewarding, and it isn't that hard to play. Now, to start off with, guys, this game is mega customizable. I mean, it has options on options on options as far as setting up your game. It doesn't have a campaign to speak of. Instead, you have a series of battles to fight realms, but there are some story ones where there's a few of them put together with stories. And the reason they're doing this is because your ruler that you choose, at the end of the battle, at the end of the sort of conquest that he's done, whether it be the story or whether it be one of the realms that you're conquering, he can ascend to the pantheon of godlike characters where they can join your future conquests or oppose them. So basically, your ruler ascends, and there's a whole tech tree there's an XP to flesh out your ascended pantheon. It's quite bizarre, really, because the guy you're playing in the game is going to ascend and in return later on in the game. It's nuts. So that's why you have all of these battles that you to put together to build up all these characters, if you like. It's crazy. I haven't got to that bit yet because of my early stage in the game, but it's something that I'm really looking forward to seeing how it actually fleshes out in the game. It's going to make it very, very interesting when you come across your own characters and everything about that own character that you put together, seeing them on the battlefield. That's going to be quite great. I can't wait for that to happen because of the customization, like I was mentioning in this game, is nuts. You can customize all your characters at the beginning. You can create your own race to go into this game. You don't have to use one of the many set races. You've got frogs, you've got rats, you've got elves, humans. There's all kinds of different characters that you can just select off the peg, so to speak, with their own set of abilities, powers and things. You can even customize the realm. You don't have to play one of the pre-built realm maps. You can create your own, and it's so easy to do because you don't need a map editor. It just asks you a series of questions. Do you want hills? Do you want fields? Do you want islands? Do you want one big landmass? How many enemies do you want on? What kind of enemies do you want on? What kind of resources do you want on there? How many of these resources? You can just set up everything, including the difficulty. And at the end result is it's regardless of whether you're playing in a multiplayer, whether you're playing in a pre-built one, or whether you're playing in a custom one. The ascension is going to happen at the end of that for your pantheon. So it's all kind of deep what's gone into this, and certainly the customizing aspect is a huge plus, which is going to give tons and tons of replayability to this game. When you get into the game, whether you're using a customized or a preset one, you'll start off on the big world map. It's quite a decent sized world, and it's fog of war, so you can't see where the enemies are, and you'll just have a starting city, a starting hero, and it's game on. Now, what you do in this game is, with any kind of 4X game, you've got a city. You build that up by building buildings inside the city and then expanding that city. As population increases in the city, you can take over and annex a piece of land next to the city. And on that land, you can put farms, quarries, lumbers, whatever you need, you can put on that actual piece of land and expand, bringing in more gold, more food. There's tons of different currencies in this that you have to pay attention to, because each bit of currency is very important, from mana, from food, from gold, which is highly important. There's also resources for how many units you can recruit and things like that. All your perks need buying, your heroes need buying, your armies need buying, your spells need buying, everything. You have currencies for all of these things, so it's important to keep an eye on what's coming in and what's going out, and upkeep costs and so on and so forth, so that you don't overstretch yourself. Also, diplomacy is huge in this game. It's very, very important that you insult the right people regularly, and when you get insulted, make sure you kill them. I do. If someone insults me on the map, I show no mercy. The rat people insulted me early on. They actually killed one of my armies, wiped the whole thing out, and then I made it my business. I declared war on them after insulting them back a few times through the diplomacy channels, telling everybody else on the map what a bastard he is. You do that. You actually do that. This twat over here, what a twat he is. And then I just threw a few feces at him, and then when I had a decent size army, when I realised you could have more than one hero halfway through my playthrough. But I got lots of heroes later on in the game, and I went straight for this guy. You know what this guy did to me, Mackie, getting off the review? This guy, he pinned me in my city for 6 days. I couldn't come out because his army was too powerful for me. He just sat outside camping. He wouldn't dare attack me because he couldn't take us because I had too many fortifications, but I couldn't get out. And he sat there taunting me, and then he pissed off, and I built an army. I ran after him, burnt his farms, chased him into his castle, sacked his castle. Epic battle that was, epic battle. He got away to his last hovel on the map. We chased him down on that, burnt that to the ground, and then I killed him. Yeah, you don't mess with Uhtred, son of Uhtred, son of Uhtred's uncle's second cousin removed son called Uhtred. I should also mention evolution, the way that affects things. You get loads and loads of spells as you're choosing the different tomes. You get lots of different spells. Every time you research one, you get a new one to research. And quite a few of these involve the evolution of your people. I started off as base humans, but I changed their DNA with certain spells to enchant them, to give them abilities that they just didn't have, and resistances that they just didn't have, so they become more powerful as a race, if you like. And the game does that in a lot of different ways, and it's really fun dabbling in that and watching they even change the way they look as well as they get infused with the magical energies. It's really cool the way they've done all these different aspects of the game. Now, because there's far too much to talk about in this review, it's more of a first impressions review as well. I mean, 2.5 days I've been playing in the game. That's not enough for a game of this magnitude. But the combat itself is auto kind of, you'll say whether or not it thinks you're going to win, and you can just click auto resolve, which I did for the vast majority of the battles, simply because a lot of the battles were just, I was ganging up on people with overwhelming numbers. It would just be pointless to play the battle. I just let the AI do it. But when it comes down to a sort of a battle where it was iffy, it doesn't say this battle's iffy, but if you get an iffy battle that could go either way, then it's highly recommended. Like in pretty much every game, you play that yourself, which brings you into a turn-based combat system like XCOM kind of thing. Now, there's a huge learning curve I found for this. The amount of debuffs and buffs that I missed out on when I was playing. I got wrecked in my first battle on this. And on my second battle, I didn't fare that much better, although I did win, but I took huge amounts of losses purely because I wasn't buffing myself properly. There was so much to take in, and I was running out of time with the embargo being today, that I just had and I only started playing the game on Monday, so I've already done like a couple of days on it. So there was just a little bit too much to take everything in. But I found the combat really pleasurable. It was pleasurable for me, guys, because there's so many different units. What I did, the way I worked mine out, I had a guy who was full of knights and defenders, big heavily armoured guys with shields who can put like up a shield defense against the enemy attacks, which is a big buff. And I had another hero who was a magic caster, and all of his soldiers were magical. There was all these weird beasts, that magical beast, like tentacle kind of octopus, which was lethal. I had this like flying like mana worm, and what he could do, he could teleport onto the front lines of the enemy and do a massive AoE damage and then become invulnerable for the next turn, sitting there giving them the middle finger. Oh yeah, I've just burnt your face off and now you can't touch me, can you? Stuff like that. I've got battle mages that can cast spells over distance and healers. So he had like a magical army. Then I had a misfit of just all kinds of beasts I'd picked up anywhere. They were all crazy as well. So I had a nice kind of mix in my army of magic and just steel. But like I say, there's a learning curve. There's two learning curves in this game, and they're both quite steep. One's the world map, and two is the actual combat in the game. But it's well worth looking at if you're into this kind of stuff, because this is an excellent game. It really is good. There's lots of customizable things to do, and also just a bit of, by the way, it's hopefully going to be verified for Steam Deck. It's already classed as playable on the Steam Deck, and I just read today that they're going to try and get it verified for launch. Obviously it's got controller support because it's out on PlayStation, I believe, or the Xbox. It's also on Green Man Gaming for £36 at the minute. The link's in the description. You can help the channel and help yourself if you're into these kind of games. But it's a steal at that price, guys, for the amount of game that you're getting for this. So there you go, guys. If you wear a Marvel t-shirt, you haven't shaved for 14 years, and your girlfriend's got long blue hair, and you frequent game workshops, this game is made for you, guys.